Okay, let's talk about L-Arginine. L-Arginine is another amino acid, and it's one of its major roles is in the production of a compound called nitric oxide. This compound, by the way, won a Nobel Prize in science for the understanding of how it regulates blood pressure. Nitric oxide helps with blood vessels. So again, you look at a blood vessel. It's a blood vessel is made out of a collagen outline and a matrix of muscle, right? And so this blood vessel will contract and relax. So it will open and it will close. It will open and it will tighten up. And so that vasoconstriction, vasodilation of a blood vessel in large part is regulated by this substance right here, this nitric oxide, which again, L-Arginine is required to make. So one of the side effects potentially of L-Arginine deficiency when your blood vessels can't properly dilate and constrict is elevations in blood pressure. And we see that play out in a number of individuals, a number of research studies. So major role of L-Arginine is in that regulation of blood pressure. Let's talk about some of the research on this. So as we were talking about a minute ago, the blood vasodilation effect, and we talk about in this particular study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine on the role of arginine supplements on erectile dysfunction. And so this was a systematic review and meta-analysis of a number of different trials. In this case, 10 different studies were looked at. The analysis demonstrated that arginine supplements with dosage ranging from 1,500 to 5,000 milligrams significantly improved erectile dysfunction compared with placebo or no treatment. P-value greater than 0.01 means that's an extremely statistically significant correlation, meaning arginine definitely works in this regard. So arginine supplements can be recommended to patients with mild to moderate EDs, kind of the clinical implication finality of this study. How many of you men watching this, you know, ever gone to your doctor? Maybe you don't want to talk about it on YouTube or in this video, but how many of you have ever gone to your doctor and instead of them saying, hey, let's measure your arginine, make sure you have the basis to produce nitric oxide so that your dysfunction is not necessarily being caused by malnutrition, or they just give you a pill, right? They just give you one of those pills. You guys know the ones, the pills to resolve erectile dysfunction. And really, it's the chemical manipulation versus the natural correction of a problem. I always like to go with the natural correction of a problem because the chemical interferences, the medicines, they don't come without their side effects. Here's another study on blood pressure. You can see the effects of L-Arginine supplementation on blood pressure in adults. Another systematic review and dose response meta-analysis of trials. You see the effective dosage of L-Arginine supplementation was detected to be approximately 4 grams a day for systolic blood pressure. So 4 grams a day would lower systolic blood pressure independent of duration. Overall, arginine supplementation may be effective for decreasing blood pressure. Again, how many of you, guys or gals, have been to a doctor, your blood pressure is high, the first thing they want to do is put you on blood pressure medicine? They didn't test whether or not you were producing nitric oxide. They didn't measure your arginine levels, which again, this can be a cause. Remember, arginine is an amino acid. It's a nutrient the body needs in order to properly function. So this is why I always come back to nutrition, because if your body's not getting what it needs nutritionally, it will malfunction. In the case of arginine, that malfunction can manifest as erectile dysfunction and blood pressure problems. And so again, take the drug or figure this part out. It's easier to figure this part out, in my opinion. This study, the effect of arginine supplementation on the lipid profile. So another systematic review and meta-analysis. So guys, these are, when I say systematic reviews and meta-analysis, this is a study on a conglomeration of all the studies to look at how effective something is therapeutically. And you can see in this meta-analysis concludes that arginine supplementation can significantly reduce triglycerides. TAG stands for triglycerides. So how many of you have had high triglycerides? You go to your doctor, your triglycerides are high. that usually stimulates, even though the statin drugs, the cholesterol-lowering drugs don't affect triglycerides. A lot of times, if you have high triglycerides, your doctor wants to put you on statins. Don't ask me to try to explain that. I can't speak for why your doctor would want to do that. But point being, high triglycerides are a very real problem and a very real risk. If they're high, you have an increased risk for development of heart attacks and strokes and other cardiovascular problems, as well as fatty liver deposition. So the higher your triglyceride levels, the greater the risk you're going to deposit fat into your liver, thus compromising its ability to function and detoxify the blood appropriately, leading to all kinds of inflammatory problems. So again, arginine as a supplement, showing the ability for it to reduce triglyceride levels as part of its role in regulating fat synthesis or metabolism. All right, next let's talk about carnitine. Carnitine, very important amino acid. One of its primary roles is in this process called beta oxidation. Now, beta oxidation is the breakdown of fat into energy, ATP. So have you ever heard anybody use that term, ATP, adenosine triphosphate? We take fat through this process, break it down. What carnitine is it's the shuttle. It helps shuttle fat into the proper area of the cell to get to this beta oxidation point. So low levels of carnitine can hinder your body's ability to burn fat as fuel. Now where this might be important for you watching is if you're following a keto-like diet, especially those of you that are like doing keto green. There's a movement out there which is to go high-fat diet, low-carb, but also to reduce the quantity of animal food consumption. Remember, most of our carnitine comes from animal meats, carnitine, right? That word carn, just like carnivore, right? So we get our carnitine predominantly from meat. So if we're increasing our fat dramatically, but not getting adequate carnitine through animal meat consumption, then you could end up with a problem generating energy. And I've seen some people who do really, really poor when they're trying to go keto, especially again in this style where they get really lethargic, they don't know where their energy went, they have no get up and go. This could be part of the problem. So you might just look at carnitine, and you know, one of the simplest things is just test for it, right? Have your doctor test your carnitine levels. If they're low, you know, you can supplement, or you can change your diet a little bit, maybe incorporate a little bit more animal products that are rich in carnitine into that so that you're better at burning that fat as a fuel source. Now, carnitine has a lot of other different functions, and there are a number of studies that have come out on benefits of carnitine supplementation. In this particular one, published in Urology, they used carnitine as well as testosterone in the treatment of sexual dysfunction, depressed mood, and fatigue associated with male aging. So guys, pay attention. And what they found is that carnitines proved significantly more active than testosterone in improving nocturnal penile tumescence and International Index of Erectile Function score. Worked better than testosterone. So, you know, again, I keep saying this. How many of you have gone to your doctor, you know, with a symptom? The first thing you do is pull out the prescription pad. Here we have an example of something very, very natural and very available through your diet that might have the potential to impact you in a very positive way without having to grab for drugs. So again, conclusion here, carnitines proved to be active drugs. They're calling carnitine drugs, although I don't know that I would call carnitine drugs, but carnitine to be active drugs for the therapy of symptoms associated with male aging. So guys, are you getting enough meat? Are you getting enough protein? See this all the time, and a lot of my male clientele is they're coming in and their wives are trying to make their husbands go on a plant-based vegan diet, and their husbands are trashed. Their energy's low, they don't feel well. Again, sexual dysfunction, depression, and low energy. So if that's you, like, you might want to consider carnitine is dropped as a result of that diet change. So again, simple changes, big impact. Another study here on carnitine supplementation being favorable for markers of recovery from physical exertion in men and women. So, and these findings support our previous findings in youth that such supplementation can reduce chemical damage to tissues after exercise and optimize the process of muscle tissue repair and remodeling. So the takeaway there is, let's say you're working out on a regular basis. You're having a really hard time recovering. You're having a really hard time getting your body to repair appropriately. There's this potential for carnitine post-workout, right, to help in that recovery, to help reduce the potentiation of the damage from the exercise. So carnitine supplementation might be very indicated in those types of individuals. So I would be remiss if I didn't include a study on gluten. So you can see with carnitine in this study, carnitine in the treatment of fatigue in adult celiac disease patients. Well, first of all, what they found was that carnitine blood levels were low in untreated celiac patients. And this is a very common symptom or side effect of gluten on the GI tract. Remember, it damages the villi, leading to malabsorption. And that damage, of course, causes all kinds of nutritional deficiency, carnitine just being one of the many. But this study went on to find that carnitine therapy safe and effective in ameliorating fatigue in celiac disease. So if you're gluten-free, think you're gluten-free and struggling, you might want to look at carnitine. You might want to have your doctor measure the amino acid levels for you. Since L-carnitine is involved in muscle energy production, it's decreased absorption. So again, if you're celiac and you're still struggling, maybe your diet's gluten-free, you might want to have your carnitine levels measured and looked at because it might just help you with a recovery. Okay, let's move on to L-Lysine. Lysine, very important amino acid. It's commonly used as an over-the-counter remedy for herpes simplex viruses. Those of you that suffer with aphthous ulcers or fever blisters, lysine, again, a common ingredient in a number of those products. If we look at some of this research, I mean, the research goes pretty deep on this, but success of L-lysine therapy in frequently recurrent herpes simplex infection, treatment and prophylaxis. You can see this double-blind, placebo-controlled, multi-center trial using L-lysine for the prevention and treatment of recurrent herpes virus infection was conducted. They used 1,000 milligrams of lysine 3 times a day for 6 months. Now, the outcome was that the treatment group had an average of 2.4 less infections. Symptoms were significantly diminished in severity, and healing time was significantly reduced. L-lysine appears to be an effective agent for the reduction of occurrence, severity, and healing time for recurrent HSV infection. Now remember, what is herpes simplex virus? Now, what a lot of you want to realize is that the herpes simplex virus family includes chickenpox. It includes adult chickenpox, otherwise known as shingles. But it also includes people, again, that get recurring mouth sores or mouth ulcers. So if you're one that, for years chronically, periodically you get just sores in your mouth, ulcers in your mouth, this is lysine. Lysine is your go-to. Again, in the research study, it was 3 grams a day was what was given. Now, what many studies also show, if you look at lysine in combination with things, so in combination with things like vitamin C, can be even more synergistic and even more effective. So if you're struggling there, you might just consider a lysine supplementation along with extra vitamin C and come back and see how well that does. Now, I've also seen a lot of people, not so much with shingles, of course, but with recurring mouth sores, is what works really well. And in many of those cases, I've seen literally probably 1,000 reports of people coming back to me after going gluten-free saying, I no longer get fever blisters or mouth sores at all since I've gone gluten-free. Remember, gluten, if you're gluten sensitive, basically it's a pressure on the immune system. And why do viruses happen? Why do we get outbreaks of viruses? These are viruses that live in all of us. We all have inside of us shingles or herpes simplex type viruses. They're basically dormant, and they live in our DRG, our dorsal root ganglia, in the nervous system. And when our immune system takes a great tax or a great stress, those viruses can be activated, and that's when we'll pick up something like shingles, or that's when we'll get mouth ulcers. So big periods of stress, eating the wrong food, exposure to toxins can all be triggers for viruses that are dormant to become active, and L-lysine helps to prevent their activation. Now, I mentioned earlier, I didn't say this, but I want to say this. I'm going to back up a little bit because we were talking about arginine earlier, and one of the things I want you to understand is arginine. We said it improved blood pressure, and arginine can help with erectile dysfunction, among other things. But if you're taking high doses of arginine, it's going to impact your lysine. And I've seen cases where people were taking, especially men for like erectile dysfunction, taking high doses of arginine, start to break out with fever blisters, increase their potential chance of developing shingles. So if you're using high doses of arginine, just be very, very cautious if you have a history of herpes outbreaks, that it may not be the best move for you in that regard. But again, lysine can be very, very important in the viral realm of helping inhibit viral replication. So let's pull up this next one here. You can see the preventative effect of lysine on lysozyme glycation in type 2 diabetes. So just another important component to lysine that's been studied is that it was found to reduce the advanced glycation end products in the serum patients with type 2 diabetes. Now, what does that mean? Let's make that sound like English. We say advanced glycation end products, also known as AGEs. These are basically when sugar moieties attach to proteins in the blood. So what happens with type 2 diabetics, their blood glucose levels are high. That glucose interacts and it binds to proteins in the blood, forming these AGE compounds, these advanced glycation end products. These are the things that we believe contribute to dementia and vascular damage, increased risk for stroke and heart attack. It's one of the reasons why diabetes, is in that chain. And because of these advanced glycation end products. And so what this study is saying, again, is that lysine was found to reduce how many of these products occurred in type 2 diabetes. Now, they didn't elaborate, and I don't think we understand fully the pathway of how this works, just for clarity's sake, but we know that it does happen. So lysine, very beneficial for the reduction of age formation, or again, advanced glycation end product formation. These are the compounds in diabetics that increase the risk for a number of different diseases. So just another reason why lysine is going to be important.